Can you believe it? Overwatch is finally back. Oh, this is Marvel Rivals. Sorry. This is Overwatch. Overwatch is back. Can you believe it, boys? And now there is only one question on everyone's mind, seeing what is happening after it is back, and that is how long until it's dead again? Because everyone at this point knows that it's gonna happen. The awoke pink-haired crowd that hates gaming, hates us, and wants to virtue signal and push agendas is obviously thrilled. Oh, look at that! People love wokeness in gaming. This is why Overwatch has 165, a new highest player score amount on Steam. It's because of that. It's wokeness. Obviously, this is a lie, and every single person knows it. No one's even gonna try and argue this in the comment section. And people have figured out after this absolute massive debacle with the Unrun voice actors, who decided, to do the smart thing and, become an activist because someone paid you to voice a certain character and ruin everything. People came back to Overwatch because of one simple reason. And that was because it looked like it's gonna be the old Overwatch, the good Overwatch, where we all knew why D.Va was put in the game, but no one said a thing because we all were in a silent agreement about it. That was the good Overwatch. The new presentation of all of the heroes, a cute cat. Everyone knows that woke people detest animals because they're soulless. We had a cute cat, a bunch of cute girls, we had a muscle mommy, we had a literal dominatrix, and we had whatever the hell this is, but I wanted in my life. It was very simple. But since the normal person who represents the majority of the world liked it, well, these people decided that they don't like it, and they started then demanding that it be fixed. And obviously, Blizzard bent the fucking knee. And now everyone knows that it's only a time before Marvel Rivals with their designs, which are marvelous and lovely, by the way, completely overthrows Overwatch. And needless to say, that pretty much has already happened. Because this is not even a giant announcement for Marvel Rivals. They just announced a new hero. Elsa Bloodstone, what was her name? Forgot it. It's the vampire hunter girl or whatever. Who Huntress, whoever she was. I don't remember. I know her from. I have never seen a comics with her, but I know her from Marvel Snap. Kind of good card. And this is just a new hero, okay? And it got 153 peak player amount versus Overwatch's 165. But it's been already. I mean, Overwatch literally lost a 1/3 of that in the next following the day. And now, honestly, it is kind of staying up there, which is pretty good for Overwatch, I ain't gonna lie. Even though this graph, again, always seems to be more akin to some kind of botting than anything else, considering the 3 bump graphs are very, very rarely real. But they could be, not gonna lie, maybe they are, who knows. Maybe it's 3 distinct time zones. If someone is gonna tell me that 15 UTC is actually like primetime China, I'm gonna believe that. I'm gonna believe that this is real, but until someone confirms that 14 to 15 UTC is prime China time, I'm not gonna believe that, okay? Same rules apply. It's around 19 UTC. You see the full player peak for any Steam game because that's the biggest overlap between Europe and America. So, this is kind of sus. And currently, we are not currently in prime time, but we can already see how it is. Typically, when it's 14 UTC, it tapers out, and it's gonna be our first holiday. Well, not holiday, but first weekend. And it doesn't seem like Overwatch is going to beat its player curve. Now, granted, Marvel Rivals... Actually, let's refresh this. Granted, Marvel Rivals also is not going to be beating this curve by no means. Though, Marvel Rivals, as you can see, is a slightly different graph because it should actually represent Chinese because of NetEase. But it doesn't. So again, I'm really questioning, is this part of the graph even real? Okay, because again... 3 bump graphs are very, very rarely real. Typically, it's botting. Now, why would Blizzard actually bought Overwatch? I don't believe that, but I mean, it's sus. I'm not gonna lie, it seems kind of sus. Okay, so there we do have honestly that. So there you go, boys. And how long will this last? No one knows because no one wants this. Okay, people came back to Overwatch because we thought it's the good old days. But no, it's not the good old days. Overwatch fucking bent the knee. And people are obviously having fights over on Twitter and whatnot. Is Marvel Rivals bigger than Overwatch? And there are a couple of interesting things I would like to say. For example, this was actually for a moment, but this was because you could get a free skin in Marvel Rivals if you watched the stream for like an hour or something. So people just got their skins in depth. This is the current situation. And I want to actually explain this one because people don't understand this. When it comes to Twitch viewership, it's a pretty decent example of games being alive or dead, but there is one thing that we never get to talk about, and that is exactly what's happening with Overwatch and Marvel Rivals, which is right there. Okay, see, look at this. Overwatch is beating Marvel Rivals by 7 times. And no, this is not because of the majority of Overwatch players are on Battle.net. I actually don't believe it. I think that Steam represents 50% of the player base for every game that's on Battle.net and Steam. Because I have done this multiple times. I have asked the question, would you rather play Blizzard games on Steam or on Battle.net? And every single time, 90% of people answer that they are more willing to, that they would love to play Battle.net games on Steam because it's a better platform. Let's face it, Battle.net was a good platform when you just used it for Warcraft 3, World of Warcraft, the beginning of Overwatch, like Season 1 or something like that, and Diablo 3 at the time, I guess. That was when the Battle.net client was at its peak and people actually used it because it didn't have ads, it wasn't annoying. Now it's just a shit show. And every single person who has the choice between that and Steam, I think they're going to choose Steam. Because it's just bad. It's just fucking bad. The modern day Blizzard client is just really bad. It's annoying, it's frustrating, it's hard to navigate, it spits ads in your face and all of that. So I believe that this is probably close to 50% of the actual player base. I do believe that full-heartedly for every Blizzard game, by the way. I believe this. And that's why they will never put World of Warcraft on Steam. That's why they won't. Even though they should, because they put Overwatch and every other Blizzard game on Steam out of desperation because they were lacking players. So World of Warcraft should also be on Steam, but Blizzard's not doing that anytime soon, right? But in any case, here's the explanation for the viewers. Overwatch is something that almost everyone played. Everyone knew about it, okay? It's the same when the Dota tournament is happening and has better views than League of Legends. Even though League of Legends is just that much more massive than Dota. I'm not going to go on another rant how Dota decided to ruin itself by not putting Russians in their own server. Sad. But, well, hey, Dota decided to Minecraft itself. Not my fault, dude. In any case, Dota still gets amazing viewership for the big tourneys. Even though its player base is probably 100 times smaller than League of Legends at this point. And I'm not kidding. It's probably literally like at least 10 times smaller than League of Legends. Minimum 3 times smaller than League of Legends. And it still gets better views. And this is the same reason why Overwatch gets better views than Marvel Rivals. Everyone who's a Marvel Rivals fan is playing Marvel Rivals instead of watching it. But Overwatch, when something new happens in Overwatch, you're not gonna play that shit. Like, why would you waste your time? You're not convinced anyway that it's back. So they're gonna watch the stream. And that's the difference. If a game has, if a game is new, people are gonna actually play it instead of watching it. Okay? Look at Arc Raiders. 33k current viewers. And even more important, I saw Helldivers somewhere here. It's somewhere that here. Trust me, boys. It's not even close. It's not even close to the top. By the way, Diablo 2, 15K viewers. That's a lot for a game that's 30 years old. Helldivers is also somewhere here, I think. It doesn't matter where it is. It's not even easy to see. But look at this. Maybe you missed it, but Helldivers just had their... I don't remember what this is called. Not what I wanted to see here. Whoops. But it just had a pretty big expansion with whatnot. And look at this. It got 171k peak viewership. And this is all real. And it's currently holding more than 66% of it. Which is fucking wild, by the way. Okay? It's holding a lot. Dude, this is crazy numbies, okay? This is 70% retention, okay? Helldivers is technically blowing out Overwatch and fucking Marvel Rivals right there out. And it is below Overwatch and it is below Marvel Rivals. Or maybe it's slightly above Marvel Rivals? No idea. In any case, we can also take a look at something like... Oh, here it is. Arc Raiders. Look at this. Arc Raiders is still absolutely destroying. Okay, 50% loss in peak from the peak moment in more than what? Multiple 4 months? And it's literally here, okay? It's slightly above Marvel Rivals. So, new games don't have this cult following of people just interested in them and seeing what happens. Now, maybe in 5 years, it's going to happen to Marvel Rivals, not creators, if they last that long. But these kind of numbers only work for very old games at this point, like Overwatch, like Dota. And even though Dota is way more older than Overwatch, obviously, it still applies to them equally. The same way that currently a lot of people are interested in seeing what's happening with World of Warcraft with the releases of Burning Crusade and the upcoming Midnight expansion. Okay, people are watching it more than playing. I hope that makes sense for you. But yeah, this is the situation. Blizzard bended the knee, and well, now we're gonna see what happens to the player base. I think, how long do you think until we are back to barely 40, 50k players? How long? I honestly think at this point, this is gonna be... Next week, we're gonna be at 60. Next week, this same time, we're gonna be on 60. And I don't even think that we're gonna break the Saturday's peak for Overwatch for 165k players. For Marvel Rivals, actually maybe possible, but slightly doubted. This is just, by the way, the reason you're seeing this right here is because it's only been 1/6 of the hour. That's why you're seeing a graph like this, if you're wondering. But yeah, I think by the end of next week, we're gonna be at 60k max players. Blizzard had their shot at going back, but they blew it. They blew it. They blew it. The moment the fucking uglification of this character happens, unless the Chinese really bully Blizzard into not doing it, we're just gonna go back to irrelevance for Overwatch. Everyone knows this. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Have a nice day. Bye.